Hi, I'm Ainsley McLaren, Executive Director at Harbour Asset Management, and with me today is George Wyman, our Manager of ESG Research. We've recently commissioned some research into the S aspects of environmental, social and governance and published our first of 3 articles on that. So George, tell me overall what were your findings?
Yeah, so in the first of these articles, what we're really trying to measure is employee engagement of workers across companies. And we looked at employee engagement surveys, voluntary turnover, and also absenteeism. And overall, we found that there was a low rate of overall disclosure from companies in the New Zealand listed market. But encouragingly, out of those that did report this information, there was an improvement in these employee engagement scores.
Maybe a case of what gets measured gets done. And George, I notice in the article that you comment on the lack of comparability between companies. What drove that mainly?
Yeah, so there are a variety of different ways that companies have chosen to measure their employee engagement, with some using standard industry surveys and others creating their own ones. So this makes it difficult to compare across companies, as well as companies also choosing to change the format of how they're measuring their surveys, with some switching from an annual type survey into more regular pulse surveys.
And also we saw some sector dispersion between industries. Would you like to just drill into that a little bit more?
Yeah, so with employee engagement and turnover in particular, we noticed that companies in the technology, consumer staples and communication services industries demonstrated higher average improvements in these employee engagement scores compared to others.
Fantastic, thank you. And finally, we've done some research on this same sample of companies in the past, looking at their focus on environmental management and climate change impacts and so forth. How did you find the maturity of the sector of that same sample in response to questions on the social aspects rather than the environmental ones?
Yeah, so what we've found in the past was companies had a large significant focus on climate change, understandably, and we expect this to continue, but in the past we've seen on the social side often these aspects and metrics have been neglected. So I think with growing regulation and investor pressure out there, these aspects will start gaining in prominence.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, George, and I look forward to seeing the second article in due course. Thank you very much.
Thanks.